Hello, and welcome to another episode of Solipsist Watched. I'm your host, the Social Solipsist, and this week I watched Sideways from 2004. Now, before we go any further, I want to comment on the poster for this movie, because I love one version of the poster and I hate the other. There's actually a couple of different posters. No surprise there. That's common with a lot of movies, but this poster that I'm going to put up on the screen right now is of particular note because holy shit, somebody just went to town with Photoshop on this. Everybody's face looks super fucked up, and I don't know why they've done this. It looks like Instagram filters 10 years before Instagram. It's real rough. Anyway, we're not going to look at that anymore. Okay, so Sideways. Why did I watch Sideways? Well, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. One of the podcasts I listen to, I guess it's a radio show, is The Indicator from Planet Money on NPR. Great show. They do little short segments about the economy and economics in general. And they did a segment about a week ago now. Yeah. About this movie and whether it changed the wine industry. That got me thinking about this movie, which I had never seen, but I had a memory of watching part of on a plane back long enough ago that it was back when they had big CRTs hanging from the ceiling instead of, screens in the back of the seats. So that was my recollection. Having now watched the film, I can say that whatever my memory of that was, it was not this film. Anyway, that's an anecdote out of nowhere for no reason other than that's just how I ended up watching this. This movie is not what I expected. I think I should jump straight to the writer and director, because I didn't realize until after I had watched it, but this is the same writer and director as About Schmidt. And there are some similar tones to it. Both directorially and in the tone of the narrative. The movie is adapted from a semi-autobiographical novel by another author, but the parallels are fascinating. And so if you liked About Schmidt, I'll just go ahead and say you'll probably like this too, or at least get something out of it. It's a fascinating movie that uses wine and the California wine country as a framework, but in a lot less of a sense than I expected it to. Again, my memory of whatever film that was wrong. This is much more of a character study in a sense. It is about two guys going on a week road trip, and hijinks ensue. It's sort of a study of who people are and who you think they are and who they end up being in the long term, and one character's adaptation to the people around him and about how he adapts himself to his aging process, I guess. And if there was one word I would use to describe the tone of the film, despite the fact that it is ostensibly a comedy, is that this film is deeply melancholy. That's not to say that it doesn't have moments of levity. And I'm not even gonna, I wouldn't say that it has humor that falls flat, but it's not very funny. In a similar way to About Schmidt, it's got very, humor so dry that it borders on not being humor, with a few exceptions. But there are some really great performances in here. Paul Giamatti, in particular, being essentially the lead, puts on a great performance. But the other three supporting leads, Thomas Hayden Church, Sandra Oh, and Virginia Madsen, all do pretty excellent jobs. But Paul Giamatti is the focus and does a really excellent job. He's a great character actor in general. And I think he does a really great portrayal of a guy going through a lot and struggling with depression and aging and confusion about a whole lot of things in his life, and trying to sort out who he is in light of other people's behaviors. Unfortunately, I think it does suffer a bit from a lack of focus. For all of Giamatti's great performance, it's the structurally and cinematically, it's a little bit of an unfocused film, and so you do get attached to Giamatti's character, but not as much as you might if it was a little bit more, had a bit more of a forced perspective on him individually. Now, whether or not that's what they wanted to go for, or what the original material suggests, I don't know. But that would just be my personal feeling for what I think would have worked better, or shown, been a little bit more compelling. But like I said, the other three all put on great performances, very believable performances. The other, I mean, I think all four of them basically had somewhat successful but relatively limited careers prior to this film. And while this didn't make any of them like shoot to stardom, it certainly gave them all a push. The film got a lot of awards and award nominations. Ultimately, though, do I think it warrants all of the praise it got? Maybe not. It's pretty good, but it's not really extraordinary to me. And so when I see that it got Academy Awards and Golden Globes and has been on a bunch of like significant lists of top movies of all time, you know, top 100, top 500 kind of thing, that surprises me a bit. Cinematically, it's not very impressive. It's not even very pleasant to look at sometimes. The cinematography is pretty bland at best. It has the occasional shot that's pretty nice, but like nothing to really write home about. In terms of lighting and color, I mean, a lot of it is outdoors or semi-outdoors, and obviously there's that makes it a bit more difficult to shoot and to control light sources and things like that. But I was pretty unimpressed by a lot of the more visual aspects of the film in general. And some of that may be deliberate as well, to, you know, lean into this sort of melancholy, slightly sad, contemplative, slow tone. But ultimately, I think it just does more to hurt the visuals. But it's inoffensive. I appreciate they don't try and do too much to gussy it up, though. You know, the way the characters dress and hold themselves and style themselves is very believable to the characters they're supposed to be portraying. You know, these sort of older guys who are kind of schlubby and not fully aware of who they are in the world and all these sorts of things, I think works pretty darn well. So visually, for the casting and the physical acting and the sets and costuming and things, I think it all adds up pretty nicely, even if it's not very visually appealing. I wish this was a stronger character study, and in reflecting on it versus something like About Schmidt or a whole bunch of other character study movies, I think I like a lot of the others a lot better. I can see that this would have a specific, unique appeal to certain segments of the population that maybe it doesn't hit me the same, or maybe it was a little bit more confined to the time and place. A sort of cultural feeling that doesn't maybe translate directly in a way I understand. But beyond that, it's pretty decent. I wish I had a lot more to say about this, but it's kind of, I don't want to say unremarkable, but it's an interesting watch. It does stray into the long territory. I think it's over 2 hours. Hold on, let me check here. Yeah, just over 2 hours. So it definitely strays long. And I think for a movie that is paced as deliberately and slowly as this is, that can start to feel like a little bit of a slog. But it's not entirely unwarranted. It just feels like it meanders without a really deliberate reason to meander quite as much as it does. Yeah, it's an odd one. I do get the impression that it was very popular, so I'm curious, for those who may have seen it, what the memories of it were from whenever you watched it. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this one. Or if you choose to watch it, what you think after it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching another episode of Solipsist Watched. I've been the Social Solipsist, and I'll see you guys next time.